coming together. I don't really think I'm gonna do anything with my hair. Or should I blow dry it a little bit? Is that a good idea? Probably.
Yeah, maybe so it's not stopping though.
How are we on time?
Not good.
6:08. Oh fuck. We should maybe just go, right?
Yeah.
I need to figure out how I'm opening this. I think I'm just gonna be really honest. I think I'm just gonna say, like, you know, I came here and I'm prepared to talk about something that I feel like I carry a lot of shame about, because I think, like, society says it says something bad about me. And I think a lot of that preparing to talk about this has made me nervous about, you know, writing my speech down. And so I wanted to come and just sort of, you know, speak from the heart and tell you guys a story about how jealousy has really played a part in my life. This is Morgan.
She'll give you like 3 minutes, and then when you see it, just like give her a little nod, put it away. She'll give you 1 minute. So that's when you have 3 minutes left and 1 minute left. Look out there.
All right. Go.
I think it just
For a
sounded
very
like
short time. Just a little bit of noise.
Give all the schools, all the odds, and all the class as we welcome Nadya Okamoto to the stage.
Yep, go. Here we go. What's going on?
To kind of give you a little bit of a background, I'm Nadya Okamoto, a sophomore at Harvard College. What people might kind of ordain as hashtag period girl, as we might call it. So I'm sort of like, you know, publicly this, you know, independent, vocal feminist. So for me, this is a little bit of a step out of my comfort zone. I grew up in New York, sort of in this kind of tense household where my memories were really just trying to break up fights between my parents or hiding my sisters when things got a little bit rough. And when I was 9, my mom, you know, gave up everything really she had, her family, her friends, her network, everything she had built in exchange for sole custody of me and my 2 younger sisters. And moving out from New York City, we picked up and we moved all the way to Portland, Oregon, across the country. We moved out, we didn't have a house yet, we knew 2 people, we moved into their basement, and we suddenly went from living this life where my mom had built this business for my dad, where he was a successful ice sculptor, sort of starting to live the high life of financial comfort, and we moved to like the opposite, right? Where suddenly like I was the scholarship kid, free and reduced lunch, and we were scooping and saving for basic necessities. And I think I really watched my mom sort of blossom into her like independent single mother self. And I grew up sort of, you know, for the next 5 years from age 9 to 14, hopping between my parents. On summer vacations, and every time we had more than a few weeks off of school, I was flying by myself to New York City with my sisters and making sure we were all safe and going back and forth. And when I was 13, 14, I hit puberty. So I got my period, which was really exciting for me. I felt like a grown-ass woman. My boobs started coming in. I started feeling like I had this newfound power, right? In school, me and my friends were told like what we could and could not wear because we might distract our classmates. Suddenly there was this whole new thing that I had to pay attention to, right? I had this power to distract, this power to persuade. And that power very much inhibited my relationship with my dad. So when I was 14, there was this game that was sort of introduced to me by him, where we would go to a store, and I would, you know, I was really like the scholarship kid at home with my mom, and I would step into this new life in New York, where my dad would take me to a place like Bloomingdale's and say I could pick out anything I wanted, right? From underwear to a really beautiful dress to makeup that made me look more adult and more mature, because that's who I was on the inside. I could pick out heels for the first time. And we would get ready together, and he would watch me get ready. And then we would go to these fancy events that he was maybe working, doing the ice sculptures and putting on the event. And we would walk into these events, and he would look at me and say, like, let's go, we play the game now. And I understood that to be like, now it's my turn to pretend to be his girlfriend, right? So at the age of 13, 14, I'm sort of coming into my own power, and suddenly my relationship with my dad is about like, what I look like and how I make him look. as like arm candy. But I loved it, you know? It was so hard for me to realize that those were like my favorite moments with my dad because I felt powerful and I felt, you know, I felt like people were looking at me in a way that where they were like in awe or jealous of me. And I felt like, you know, in the way he would look at me, it was this sort of desire and, you know, put his hand on my lower back and move it down or kiss me on the cheek or kiss me on the lips and just say, you are beautiful, everyone is watching you, everyone is looking at you. And he would introduce me as, this is my girl, right? And that was the only time I ever heard that from my dad. And I grew up with my dad being pretty abusive, both, you know, sometimes in ways that could be misconstrued as loving, but also in ways where I felt pretty hated and resented by my dad. So these were moments where suddenly I didn't suspect that I was resented, but I felt like this is the moment where he would look at me and say, I love you. And he would say that in front of everyone, right? And so at the age of 13, 14, I'm finding myself, you know, starting to become a woman and starting to feel my power and feeling like I owe people around me in the way of like, how can I make them proud? Well, maybe it's through like being sexy and maybe them looking at me with this sort of attention. The problem with this is that 2 years later, my dad actually starts dating women, right? And I become very, very jealous of the women that he's dating, right? Because in my mind, that's my place. That's the place that I'm supposed to be. And so when I hear the word jealous, and I really took a moment to, you know, instead of studying for finals, sit by myself and just think about, like, where have I felt the most jealousy? It was in those moments where I had to watch him not call me beautiful anymore in that same way, but call someone else, right? And I look back and I'm like, wow, that's so fucked up. But in those moments, like, those were very real experiences for me, being like, what do I not have that this person has, right? Fast forward 4 years, I'm 20 years old. I'm not in contact with my dad anymore, which is good. Social services and our therapist finally stepped in and recognized a lot of his behavior as sex abuse, physical abuse, neglect, and verbal abuse. And my family's in a lot better of a place. But I think I wanted to come share the story just to be like, I'm here and I'm working my hardest to say that my body is my own. I have experienced sexual assault and all of those things with other people, but looking in the mirror and saying, like, I'm a survivor of that, that's not what makes me who I am. And I'm so inspired by the energy in this room to reclaim my sexuality, my body, my image, my beauty for myself. And I wanted to say thank you for letting me share that story.